We have been talking about project, program and portfolio, and PMBOK Guide 6th edition has a nice table which looks at various aspects of project, program and portfolio management and elaborates how they are different in these three. So I thought of why don't I pick up some of those aspects and discuss them in this particular video. The table first talks about the definition. So we have been talking about project is something which is a temporary endeavor which produce a unique output, result or service. So this is what we know about project. Program is primarily grouping of interrelated projects so that they combined produce the benefit. If we manage these projects individually, they may not be that much effectively able to handle the organization need. So it's a collection of related project and sub-programs who can deliver a program objective. Portfolio is a strategic goal. It has a collection of projects and program, and we focus on something like, what do I do with $1,000 I have? So it's like, this is the resource you have, how much money you can make out of it. So effectively managing project, program and sub-programs so that they achieve organization objectives and help us in achieving the strategic goals. So that's the idea of portfolio. So that's the one part of this. Now scope. When we talk about scope, I am starting from organization strategy. So things keeps changing dynamically in our environment. New products keeps coming in, new competitor keeps coming in, and organization also has their own direction where they want to proceed forward. So based on organization strategies, internal market conditions, the portfolio objectives gets defined. And they get defined for usually a long duration, where we talk about this time we want to achieve a 20 billion goal, this time we want to achieve 40% of market share. So on the basis of organization strategy, scope of portfolio, the direction of portfolio, the objective of portfolio get identified. On the basis of portfolio objective, the program and project objectives comes out. Now many times, if you don't have a program in between, the portfolio objective may directly go into a project objective, and this is how the scope starts emerging. But if you have a program in between, which is a collection of related projects, program objectives get derived from portfolio objectives. And the same way we derive the project objective from program objective. Now many times as a project manager, we work for a project scope. Now project scope is something which continuously evolves, which is progressively elaborated in order to achieve project objectives. Many times as a project manager, we end up missing this linkage and we only focus on the scope as defined in our scope statement. But as a good project manager, as a project manager who delivers the project objective, keeping all these things in mind is a good idea. So scope of a portfolio is achieving those portfolio objectives. Scope of a program is achieving the combined objective as per program defined. Scope of a project is project objective, and in order to achieve the project objective, we come up with the project scope. Now, how do we handle changes? So many times, like people who are taking PMP exam, they may fight for everything. PMI talks about change request, and this is a first lesson, so you may not get that idea, but as you get deeper into it, so you see a lot of conversation related to the changes. So it makes sense to visualize change and these three dimensions and how change affects these three particular dimensions. At a portfolio level, a group who is associated with managing portfolio need to keep continuously looking for changes. So I need to monitor my external and internal environment and see if there is something changing. I need to change my portfolio combination. I need to adapt to it. I need to tell my program to adapt to it. The program will tell the projects to adapt to it. So the changes are primarily looked after. They are primarily monitored, primarily discovered at this portfolio layer. At a program level, when something gets discovered at a portfolio level, program management, program level, we assess and adapt. We do an assessment of how these changes which are visualized at a portfolio level impacts the program and how different components of the program should get changed so that we adhere to the ongoing market dynamics, ongoing the changes in the environment. So it's like portfolio detect the changes, program assess and adapt the changes. And when we reach to a project level, many times project manager gets the change. So project usually expects changes, and project is also usually focused on managing and controlling unnecessary changes, because many times changes also comes because of error and omission at a ground level. So at a project level, you are more focused on this is what I have to do. If somebody will say something to change, I will change. Now, with the change in market dynamics, many times you work in a projects where there is no program. And when there is no program, you are directly handling with a portfolio, you end up assessing, adapting, expecting, managing and controlling changes. And sometimes you work too closely with the portfolio, you at a project level also start continuously monitoring the environment. But if you want to take a complex generic project environment, you can fairly assume the portfolio is the one who keeps seeking changes, program keeps adapting changes, project expect change, and we try to monitor, manage and control them as much as possible. So this is how changes are done at D3 level. Planning, monitoring and managing. How planning, monitoring is a bit different at these 3 levels. Since we are learning project management, we will get into the details of project level planning, monitoring and other stuff, but here we are just taking a view so we understand how these things are different at portfolio and project level. At a portfolio level, primarily I am managing or monitoring collection of big initiative. So I won't be getting into the details of who is doing what. My focus is, are we on the right track for a given particular initiative? The initiative could be a program or project. And when I say right track, are we achieving the desired business case if we complete the program at the similar pace as it is going? Or how many programs are undergoing, like ongoing, how many are done? And when they are done, are we achieving those expected objectives for which we initiated the program? So that kind of planning, that kind of monitoring is done at a portfolio level. The portfolio planning also deals with capacity planning. So they think of, yeah, we can do million things, but as per our human resource and organization resources, we can think of these many things we can pick up. So we will only pick up the top 10 initiative. So that kind of a capacity planning is many times done at a portfolio level. Portfolio level, we also do a lot of budgeting and money allocation. So how much money can go into a particular initiative, and how should we adjust that money with the changes in environment? That is something done at a portfolio level. When we come at a program level, it is primarily a dependency management thing. How do I ensure which program is dependent on which project, which big requirement is dependent on other requirement, which deliverable of project one is dependent on another project, in which time scales they are. So there will be more and more high level planning and monitoring. You don't get into the execution part of those work. Primarily you see how a one project deliverable impacts the other project deliverable, how one project objective is dependent on somebody else's project objective, and how we can handle them in a coordinated and efficient manner. So that becomes the focus of program level of planning and management. As I said, we are going to spend a lot of time in project level planning and monitoring. At a simple level, we can think of, when we come at a project level, we start getting things done. We start breaking the things at a level where people can pick it and start working on them. So we call something called work breakdown structure. So those kind of things keeps emerging, and we also start looking at various detailed activities and how they get executed, how they are dependent on each other, and execution level planning and detailed planning gets done for a given part of project when we get into project level planning. The project level planning is also progressive planning. We don't end up planning everything in detail from the day one. As things emerge, as we know more about the things, we elaborate the plan. So this is how these things are different at these level. So final one, success. How do we measure success? And this is something, an interesting topic, and many times we don't have an idea of it. From the previous slides, you can understand that portfolio success is primarily linked with meeting the strategic objective. If I have a strategic objective of increasing my return on investment, if I have a strategic objective of increasing my market share in 3 years' time, my portfolio objective will only get met when I find that yes, my market share has increased now, or I am more diversified now. Whatever strategic objective we pick up, and on that basis we decide how successful are we. At a program level, we need to focus on how are we realizing benefits to the organization by executing this particular program. The focus of a program is efficiently and effectively integrating the outputs, the outcomes of various projects so that we realize the benefit for which the program has been initiated. So focus on benefit realization is the key when we focus on program. At a project level, there are various theories. Initially, or I can say till PMBOK 5, there was too much focus on managing the project success based on quality, time, budget, compliance, customer satisfaction, and all those parameters which are more technical and under control. But with passage of time, with the recent PMI's role definition study and PMBOK 6 coming into picture, the alignment and focus towards benefit realization is also increasing at project level. And you do keep in mind that there could be a case where you don't have a program, you directly deal with the project. And when you don't have a program, this success goes at a project level. So project success also comes in that how efficiently project is able to meet project objective and how efficiently project management team could align the project scopes, project deliverables with the project objectives. So in a simple way, here you have more execution and detailed success measurement, and here they are more and more outcome based. So what we get once we are done with all those initiatives. So this is how we can think of the difference between project, program and portfolio using various dimensions as explained in PMBOK Guide 6th edition.